When my daughter-in-law told me to leave the house, I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I didn't even cry. I just smiled. Not because I wasn't hurt, but because in that quiet moment, I finally understood something I had ignored for years. Something about love, pride, and the way families break in silence long before they break in words. I stood there, holding the small grocery bag I'd brought with me. I had made her favorite soup that evening. The kitchen smelled warm, but the air between us was cold. She held her phone in her hand, screen turned face down, almost like she was hiding something behind it. I remember telling her softly, "It's all right, dear." Even though it wasn't. Even though my heart was shaking inside my chest, and I felt the weight of every year I had spent raising her husband, my son, who was upstairs and had no idea that his wife and his mother were standing at a breaking point. I walked outside, closing the door gently, even though she had slammed it open earlier. The night air felt strange on my face, like the world was reminding me that things had changed without my permission. What I didn't know then, what I could not even imagine, was that she had been recording me. Not for memories. Not for something sweet. No. She wanted evidence. She wanted to paint me as the villain. But life has a way of turning truth around. And her recording, the one she thought would ruin me, the one she hoped would drive my son away from me, that recording backfired. Not in anger. Not in revenge. But in the quiet kind of justice that comes when a lie breaks under its own weight. This is the story of how it happened. It is not a story of shouting or fighting. It is not a story of bitterness. It is a story told in the calm voice of a mother who once believed that being gentle would always be enough, and learned that sometimes, gentleness is misunderstood, until the truth finally speaks for itself. So sit with me. Let me take you back to the beginning. Before we begin, if you enjoy stories that touch the heart and remind us of life's quiet miracles, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. It truly helps our little storytelling family grow. Before the recording, before the distance, before the unwelcome silence began stretching between us like a cold hallway with a single flickering light, let me tell you what really happened. Slowly, honestly, from my heart. My name is Helen. I am 62 years old, though I often joke that my heart stopped aging around 40. Maybe that's because 40 was when my husband passed away. And when you lose the love you built your whole world around, sometimes your heart freezes time to protect itself. I live in a small, quiet town in the Midwest. People here still wave when they drive past. They leave their porch lights on for guests. And every sound echoes a little longer, especially at night. My house is old, gentle, and filled with memories. The walls hold the laughter of my son growing up, Daniel, and the soft humming of my late husband, who loved fixing things even when they didn't need fixing. The kitchen window still has the tiny scratch Daniel made when he was 5, insisting he could cut a carrot by himself. He sliced the countertop instead. I kept it. I always keep small marks of love. Daniel grew up to be a quiet young man. Not shy, just thoughtful. He liked listening more than talking. He liked solving problems silently, and he had a way of scrunching his eyebrows when he was thinking hard. His teachers always said he was the boy who made adults feel calm. When he went to college, he called me every night. Every single night. Even if it was only for a minute. Sometimes he just said, "Good night, Mom," half asleep, but he still called. That's the kind of son he was. When he met Emily, the woman who would become my daughter-in-law, he was 26. He brought her home for Thanksgiving. She walked in wearing a soft beige sweater and holding a pie she said she made just for me. I remember my first thought. She will be the gentle one he needs. She smiled politely, and her voice was soft. But something in her eyes always looked like she was measuring things, people, words, moments. Not in a cruel way. Just sharply. Her family was different from ours. More polished. More distant. More careful about appearances. Still, I opened my arms to her as best as I could. That is the job of a mother. Not only to love your own child, but to enlarge your heart for the person they choose. In the beginning, she was warm. Not close, but polite. "Thank you for having me, Mrs. Carter," she said the first night she stayed over. "Helen, dear." I corrected her gently. She smiled, but she kept calling me Mrs. Carter for almost 2 more years. I did not mind. Love grows slowly sometimes. When they got married, I cried quietly in the back row of the church. Not because I was sad, but because I could see the next chapter of Daniel's life beginning. A chapter where I would appear less and less, as it should be. When children grow, mothers must learn how to shrink with grace. Emily and I were never close, but I believed that time would help. I tried in small ways, sending soup when she was sick, offering to help when they moved, remembering her birthday with a handwritten note. She always said thank you. But I could sense her walls. Thin ones but firm. Still we lived in peace. A quiet, respectful peace. Until small things began to change. They say families do not break in storms. They crack in drafts. Thin currents of cold that slip under doors, unnoticed at first. And our draft started with nothing more than tiny misunderstandings. A forgotten text message. A slightly cold tone. A door closed too quickly after I left. I told myself it was just life. People grow busy. People grow tired. People grow into new versions of themselves. But I never imagined that those tiny cracks would grow into a moment where my daughter-in-law would hold a phone in her hand, recording me secretly, hoping to catch something she could turn against me. I never imagined gentleness could be twisted, or silence used as a weapon. Yet it happened. And before I tell you how it unraveled, how the truth found its way back, you need to understand what led us there. The small shifts, the quiet tensions, the unspoken fears. Let me take you through those days. Our Sunday routine. Daniel had always kept Sundays for me. It was an unspoken rule. When he was little, we used to make pancakes every Sunday morning. When he grew older, he swapped pancakes for coffee, and he would sit across from me at the table and tell me about school, work, life. After he married, the visits changed, shorter, less frequent, but he still came. Emily always came with him, of course. I welcomed her every time. But slowly, her presence began to shift the air. When I served food, she pushed it around her plate politely. When I asked about her week, she kept her answers short. When Daniel laughed at something I said, she looked away as though it bothered her. I never confronted her. That is not my way. I simply tried to offer space. Sometimes people need room to settle into new relationships. But after some time, I started to notice that Daniel's visits always ended early. He always said, "Emily's tired," or "We have things to do." And I watched them leave with a soft ache in my chest I never admitted to anyone. Then came the first true sign something was wrong. The missed birthday. My birthday had always been simple. A small dinner, a warm hug, Daniel handing me a card with his thoughtful handwriting. But that year he forgot. Not a call. Not a message. Nothing. I waited all day, sitting near the window with the phone beside me. Sometimes I walked to the kitchen just to move, then walked back. The clock ticked louder than usual. When evening came, I finally texted him. "Hope you're both doing well." He replied 3 hours later. "Sorry, Mom. Busy day." That was all. No birthday wish. No apology. I told myself I was being silly. It's just one day. I whispered to myself as I washed dishes that night, pretending the warm water soothed the hollow spot in my chest. But a mother knows. Sometimes the heart learns before the mind understands. Something was changing. The soup incident. A week later, I made chicken soup. The same recipe Daniel loved as a child. I simmered it slowly, letting the house fill with the warm smell of garlic, thyme, and memories. I drove it to their home, thinking I might drop it off, smile, and leave. Emily opened the door. She didn't hide the surprise on her face. "Oh, hi," she said, her voice flat like a rug that had lost its softness. I brought some soup for you both, I said, lifting the container. She didn't take it. She just stared at it like it was an inconvenience. Daniel walked over, smiling when he saw me. Mom, you didn't have to. I know, dear, I said. But I wanted to. We talked for a moment. A gentle conversation. Normal. But I noticed how Emily kept glancing at her phone. How she whispered something to Daniel when she thought I wasn't looking. How her shoulders tensed when I spoke. And then when I left, I heard the door close too quickly. Not a slam. Just quicker than kindness would allow. Later, Daniel called. Mom, he said awkwardly, maybe just check with us next time before coming by. I felt my heart sink. I'm sorry, he whispered. I didn't mean to intrude. You didn't, he said. But his voice was unsure. I knew then that something more was behind it. Not Daniel. No. My son would never push me away unless someone else was pushing first. The beginning of the recording. The next week, Emily called me. Her voice was cold but polite. Mrs. Carter, can you come over tomorrow? I want to discuss something. I felt a small knot form in my stomach. Of course, I said. When I arrived, she stood in the kitchen with her phone. On the counter, face down. Daniel was at work. Sit, she said. I did. She talked to me about boundaries, visits, space, routines, expectations. Her tone was professional, almost like she practiced it. I listened. Quietly. Respectfully. At one point, I said softly, Emily, dear, I never wanted to make you uncomfortable. She didn't answer that. She changed the topic quickly. But I noticed something. Every time I spoke, she touched her phone. Her fingers hovered around it. Her eyes flicked toward it. I didn't understand then. Not yet. Not until the day everything broke open. At this point in my story, the cracks had become lines. Not deep enough to destroy us, yet but deep enough to tremble. What I didn't know was that she was building a story, a narrative, a version of me that wasn't real. And she thought she had proof. A recording, one she believed would expose me. But life has a way of revealing truth gently, yet powerfully, like morning sunlight touching a dark room. And soon, very soon, her recording would come back to her, not as a weapon, but as the mirror she tried to hold up to me. The days after that conversation felt heavy, even though nothing dramatic happened on the surface. Families rarely fall apart in loud moments. Most of the time, it's the quiet hours, the afternoons when no one calls, the evenings when you sit alone at a table meant for three, that hurt the most. I kept wondering if I had made a mistake. Had I visited too often? Had I overstayed my welcome? Was I clinging too tightly to Daniel, forgetting that he had his own life now? Mothers question themselves a lifetime. Even after their children marry. Even after they move away. Even after they stop calling as often. Love does not have an off switch. It just learns to whisper. The subtle distance. Daniel still visited me on Sundays, but Emily rarely came with him anymore. She always had a reason. She's tired, Mom. She had work to finish. She's feeling unwell. I believed him. I always believed him. Not because the excuses made sense, but because my son is a gentle soul. The kind who tries hard not to see conflict even when it stands right in front of him. One Sunday, when he was leaving, I touched his arm gently. Daniel, I said, is everything all right? His eyes shifted away for a second. Only a second. But I saw something in that moment, a flicker of confusion, or guilt, or maybe just worry. Everything's fine, Mom, he said with a small smile. You're overthinking. Maybe I was. Mothers do that too. The uncomfortable dinner. 2 weeks later, Daniel insisted I come over for dinner. Emily wants to host, he said. She made your favorite dish. I was touched. Maybe things were settling again. Maybe the storm had passed without ever breaking. But when I arrived, the atmosphere felt staged. The table was set too perfectly. The candles were unlit but placed neatly in the center. And Emily greeted me with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Hi, Mrs. Carter. Gumain." There it was again. Mrs. Carter. Not Helen. I tried not to show my disappointment. Names hold emotion, even when we pretend they don't. Dinner smelled wonderful. Roasted chicken, mashed potatoes, green beans with garlic. It reminded me of the meals my husband used to make on special occasions. We all sat down, and for a few minutes things felt normal. We talked about Daniel's work, the cold weather, the new grocery store in town. But I couldn't ignore the way Emily kept adjusting her phone on the table. Face down. Always face down. At one point, I excused myself to wash my hands. As I walked out of the dining room, I heard a faint sound, like the soft click of a button on a screen. I paused for just a moment. A strange, unfamiliar feeling ran through me. Not fear. Not suspicion. Just discomfort. But I told myself I was imagining things. A 62-year-old mind tends to read too much into small sounds. When I returned, Emily gave me a tight smile and asked, "So, do you like the food?" "It's lovely," I told her gently. But something about the way she was watching me, her eyes sharp, observing every gesture, every word, made me feel like I was sitting under a microscope. The first hint. After dinner, Daniel walked me to the door. Before I stepped outside, I asked softly, "Daniel, did I do something wrong?" His eyebrows knitted together. "No, Mom. Why would you say that?" I almost told him about the strange tension with Emily, about the way she watched me, about the faint click I heard. But I didn't. I couldn't bring myself to plant a seed of conflict between my son and his wife. If Emily truly disliked me, I thought it was better to carry that discomfort quietly than to burden Daniel with divided loyalties. "Nothing," I said with a soft smile. "Just being silly." He hugged me before I left. A long warm hug. A hug that told me he still loved me deeply, even if something around us was changing. That night, I slept poorly. A mother's intuition is like a lantern, small, gentle, but bright enough to warn you when something dark moves in the corner of your life. The phone call. A few days later, I received a call from a number I didn't recognize. "Hello," I said. Silence for a moment. Then a soft breath. Then a voice I knew too well. "Mrs. Carter, we need to talk." It was Emily. My heart tightened. Not because I feared her, but because her voice sounded rehearsed again. Measured. Like she had written down the words she wanted to say. "Of course, dear," I said gently. "Is everything all right?" "Not really," she replied coldly. "Can you come over this evening?" "Certainly." "Come alone," she added after a pause. That sentence struck me. Not for what it said, but for why she said it. Why would I not come alone? But I agreed. That evening, I put on my gray cardigan, the one Daniel always said made me look soft and cozy, and I drove to their home. The door opened before I knocked. Emily stood there, her hair tied back sharply, her face tense. "Gumain." The house was quiet. Too quiet. Daniel wasn't home. "Sit," she said firmly, pointing to a chair in the living room. Her phone lay on the coffee table. Face down again. He said slowly. "What's wrong, dear?" I asked softly. She crossed her arms, staring at me without blinking. "Mrs. Carter, I know what you've been doing." A cold shiver went through me, not from guilt, but from confusion. I don't understand," I said quietly. She took a deep breath. Her voice trembled, not with fear, but with anger she was trying to hide. "You've been trying to make me look bad in front of Daniel. You're trying to control him. And honestly, I'm tired of it." The room felt smaller suddenly, the walls inching closer. I shook my head gently. "Emily dear, I have never." "Please don't pretend," she snapped. It was the first time she raised her voice at me. Softly, but unmistakably. She reached for her phone. For a moment, I saw something flash across her eyes, triumph maybe, or expectation. She pressed the screen and said quietly, "I have recordings." Recordings. Recordings of what? I stared at her, my heart pounding softly in my chest like a frightened bird. "I don't understand," I whispered. Her lips curled slightly. "You don't need to. I have everything I need." Everything she needs for what? She didn't explain. She didn't have to. I felt it, deep in my bones. She wasn't trying to talk to me. She was building a case, a story, a version of me that didn't exist. But the moment she said the word recordings, a strange peace came over me. Not because I wasn't scared, but because I knew in the quiet, honest part of my soul that I had never spoken to her with cruelty. I had never insulted her, never belittled her, never said anything worth hiding. So if she had recordings, then maybe the truth would protect me, even if she tried to twist it. "Emily," I said gently, meeting her eyes, "why would you record me?" Her jaw tensed. "Because I knew you'd deny everything." "Everything what?" "That you're trying to turn Daniel against me." A soft ache formed behind my ribs. "I would never do that," I whispered. "You're his wife. I want you both to be happy." I saw something flicker in her eyes, doubt maybe, but she pushed it away. "I think you should stay away for a while," she said finally. Her voice softened, but only on the surface. "Give us space." Something inside me cracked quietly, not loudly, just a thin, quiet break, like the sound of ice shifting on a frozen lake. "If that's what you need," I said slowly, "I can give you space." She expected me to fight, to get angry, to argue, but I didn't. Her eyes widened slightly, as if she wasn't prepared for calmness. I stood up slowly. "I am leaving now," I said gently. "Please tell Daniel I love him." She didn't answer. As I walked to the door, I paused for one moment, not to speak, just to breathe. Then I stepped outside. The evening air was cold. It wrapped around me like a thin blanket, not warm enough to comfort, but strong enough to remind me I was still alive. I walked to my car. I didn't cry. Not yet. Not then. Mothers save their tears for when no one can see. The silence begins. For the next week, Daniel didn't visit. He called once, briefly, distracted. "Working late, Ma. I'll see you soon." But he didn't come. I didn't ask why. I didn't want to force him to choose. Instead, I filled my days with small tasks, watering plants, reorganizing shelves, cooking meals too large for one person. The house felt heavier without his voice in it. One evening, as I sat alone at the dinner table, I whispered into the quiet. What did I do? But the walls had no answers. The unexpected visit. 2 weeks later, there was a knock on my door. Not light, not gentle, almost urgent. I opened it to find Daniel standing there, his expression troubled. "Mom," he said, stepping inside quickly, "we need to talk." My heart tightened. "Of course," I said softly. "Is everything all right?" He hesitated. His eyes moved around the room like he was searching for the right place to speak. "Emily showed me something," he said. My breath caught. "She played a recording of you." I didn't speak. I didn't move. I simply waited. Because truth, no matter how painful, deserves silence. Daniel continued slowly. "I want to hear your side." My knees felt weak. What did she play?" I whispered. He hesitated again. And then he told me. He told me what Emily claimed I said. What she wanted him to believe. What she used her secret recordings for. And my world, already fragile, cracked open. Daniel stood in my living room with his hands in his pockets, his shoulders tense, his eyes troubled. I had seen that expression only a few times in his life. Once when he broke a neighbor's window playing baseball as a child. Once when he told me Dad's health had worsened, and once when he announced he would be moving out. But this expression, this was different. This was the look of someone torn between two people they loved. He sat down slowly on the edge of the couch, as if he wasn't sure whether he should feel comfortable or cautious. "Mom," he said quietly, "Emily showed me something. She said she recorded you." I sat in the armchair across from him. My palms felt cold, though the room was warm. "I see," I whispered. I didn't defend myself. "Not yet. The truth does not need haste." Daniel looked down at his hands. "Mom, I don't know what to think." I took a breath, letting the air settle inside my lungs. "Tell me what you heard, dear." He hesitated before speaking. "She played a clip where you told her that she wasn't good enough for me." The words hit me like a soft blade, sharp but quiet. Not because I believed them, but because I knew I would never say such a thing. "I understand," I murmured. "And what else?" He swallowed. "I heard you say that I only married her because I felt sorry for her, and that she would never be part of our family." I kept my eyes on the rug. The blue and gray threads blurred for a moment as I blinked slowly. "And you believe I said that?" My voice did not tremble. I would not let pain speak for me. Daniel shook his head slowly. "I don't know. It sounded like you, but also not like you." I nodded gently. "Did she play the whole recording?" He frowned. "No. She said the rest wasn't important." Ah, there it was. The quiet clue the truth often hides inside. I folded my hands in my lap. "Daniel, dear, I cannot defend myself by saying I didn't say that. Anyone can say those words and still be lying." He looked up at me, his eyes softening. "But what I can tell you," I continued gently, "is that if she recorded me, then she should have no fear in playing the entire thing." Daniel inhaled slowly. He hadn't expected that. "Mothers do not get to choose when they are believed," I said quietly. "They only speak with their hearts, hoping their children remember the truth they grew up with." For a moment, the room was silent. So silent that I could hear the clock ticking softly behind us. He whispered, "Would you ever say something like that?" I met his eyes. "Never. Not to her. Not to anyone." Daniel ran a hand through his hair. "I didn't think so. But hearing something changes things." "Yes. Recordings do that. They change tone, remove context, bend reality." "Daniel," I said softly, "whatever she played, there is more to it." "The second recording." Daniel looked conflicted. "She also showed me another clip," he continued. "In that one, you were talking to someone on the phone. You said, 'I don't trust her.'" He paused. "And it sounded like you meant Emily." I closed my eyes for a moment. Then I smiled sadly. "I know exactly what that is," I whispered. He looked confused. "You do?" "Yes. I remember when she recorded that. It was the night I made soup. After I got home, I got a call from Martha. You remember Martha, my neighbor?" Daniel nodded slowly. "I was talking to her about her own daughter-in-law. Martha had told me her daughter-in-law kept taking things from her house without asking. And I said, 'I don't trust her.' But I was talking about Martha's situation, not mine." Daniel's expression shifted. Surprise, confusion, recognition. "That's not what Emily said." I nodded gently. "I know." A soft ache passed across his face. "Mom, did you ever talk behind Emily's back?" I shook my head. I spoke about her only with love and concern. Nothing more. Something inside Daniel cracked quietly, like the sound a heart makes when it realizes it might have doubted the wrong person. Daniel's doubt grows. He leaned back, rubbing his forehead. "Mom, Emily seemed so sure. She said she had proof. Evidence." "I understand," I replied softly. "That is why she recorded me. Not to protect herself, but to catch something she could use." Daniel's eyes widened slightly. "You think she wanted to create something?" I didn't answer immediately. Mothers choose their words the way gardeners choose flowers, with care. "I think," I said gently. That she felt insecure. Maybe she thought I was standing between you two. And fear makes people do strange things. Daniel exhaled slowly. Why didn't you tell me earlier? Because, I whispered. I did not want to make you choose. His eyes softened. He looked away as if ashamed. That was not what I wanted. I reached out and touched his hand lightly. Daniel, dear, I do not blame you. You saw what she wanted you to see. He didn't pull his hand away. But he didn't speak either. The missing piece. Then something unexpected happened. Daniel looked toward the door. Emily and I argued about this yesterday. She told me she deleted the original recordings. Deleted? My voice remained calm, but inside, I felt a quiet shift. The kind you feel when a puzzle piece suddenly fits. Yes, Daniel said. She said she didn't want the negativity anymore. But when I asked to hear the full clip, she said it wasn't necessary. I nodded. Of course. If you twist the truth, you destroy the evidence of what was real. Daniel, do you believe she deleted them? He hesitated. I'm not sure. Ah, there it was. A seed of doubt. Not about me. About her. May I ask you something? I said softly. He looked at me. If someone has a full recording that proves I said terrible things, why would they not let you hear the whole thing? Daniel swallowed hard. I don't know. Unless, I whispered gently, the whole truth doesn't match the version she played for you. He said nothing, but the silence between us changed. The unexpected confession. Daniel stayed for almost an hour. We talked softly. We drank tea. He asked questions. I answered everyone with honesty, even when the answers hurt. Before he left, he stood by the door, shifting from foot to foot like a nervous young boy again. Mom, he said, I think something is wrong. I think Emily may be hiding something. My heart squeezed, not from victory but from sadness. Daniel, I whispered, please don't jump to conclusions. She loves you. She is struggling, that's all. He blinked in surprise. You're defending her? I smiled softly. I am trying to protect peace. Even now. He inhaled deeply. Mom, can I ask you something? And I want you to be completely honest. Always. Are you afraid of Emily? I hesitated only a moment. Not afraid, I answered slowly. But I am careful. He frowned. Why? Because, I said gently, she sees me as competition, not family. Daniel closed his eyes for a moment, as if the truth hit him harder than the lie ever did. Emily arrives. The conversation was interrupted by a sound. A car pulling into my driveway. Daniel stepped toward the window. That's Emily's car, he whispered. I stood very still. The front door opened before either of us reached it. Emily stood there, her face pale, her eyes red. Daniel, she said sharply, we need to go. He turned toward her, but didn't move. Emily, we're talking. Her jaw tightened. We talked enough. Let's leave. Daniel shook his head. No, not yet. The way her face shifted, from anger to panic, told me more than anything she had said before. Emily, I said softly, come in. She glared at me. I'm not here to talk to you. Daniel stepped between us. Emily, please. She pushed a hand through her hair, exasperated. I can't believe this. Daniel, she's manipulating you. No, he said quietly. She's not. Emily froze. For the first time, she looked frightened. Not angry. Not offended. Frightened. What did she tell you? She whispered, her voice trembling. The truth, Daniel said. Emily shook her head. No. No, she's lying. I have proof. Then play it, Daniel said calmly. Play the full recordings. Emily's lips parted. Her pupils widened. I told you. I deleted. Daniel didn't raise his voice, but his words cut through the room like a slow-moving truth. Emily, if you deleted them, then how do you know what she said? Silence. Heavy. Still. Undeniable. Emily's breath hitched. She looked at me, for the first time, not with anger, but with guilt. I lowered my eyes softly. Sometimes gentleness breaks a lie better than confrontation. Daniel spoke again, quietly but firmly. Emily, did you edit the recordings? Her hands began to shake. I needed you to see what she was doing. Daniel closed his eyes. His shoulders fell. Emily, he whispered. What did you do? Her tears fell. Not dramatic tears. Not loud. Just small drops that hit the floor softly. I felt like she didn't want me here, she whispered. I thought she was trying to take you from me. I thought if I didn't show you something, you wouldn't listen. I took a slow breath. My voice came out soft as a quiet wind. Oh, Emily, why didn't you just talk to me? She looked at me then, really looked at me, and her entire expression shifted into something fragile, almost childlike. I didn't think you'd understand, she whispered. Daniel said nothing. His face held a mix of sadness, disappointment, and tired love. The truth breaks open. Emily wiped her face. I didn't mean to hurt anyone, she whispered. I just felt threatened. I nodded gently. I see, I said. Her eyes widened, maybe expecting me to yell or accuse her. But I didn't. Because anger poisons. But truth heals. You were afraid, I continued softly. That's why you did this. Emily covered her mouth with her hand, sobbing quietly. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Daniel stepped closer to her, placing a hand on her shoulder. Emily, he said gently, we can fix this, but only if we are honest with each other. She nodded slowly, tears dripping down her chin. I didn't hate you, she whispered toward me. I just didn't know how to fit into your world. My heart softened. Completely. I stood and walked toward her, slowly, carefully, like approaching someone wounded. I never wanted you to feel outside, I said softly. I only wanted to know you. Emily sobbed harder. I ruined everything. No, I said gently, placing a careful hand on her arm. You didn't ruin everything. You just got lost for a while. She looked up at me with trembling eyes. Can you ever forgive me? I smiled, a small warm smile. Forgiveness is easy when the truth finally comes home. Daniel closed his eyes, relief washing over him. Emily leaned forward, and for the first time since I had met her, she hugged me. A fragile, trembling hug. I held her gently, not too tight, not too loose, because that is how healing begins. I spent the next morning in my room, moving slowly. I folded my sweater. I placed my scarf on the edge of the bed. I wasn't packing to leave yet, but my body felt like it was preparing for something. Maybe an ending. Maybe a beginning. I wasn't sure. The house was quiet. Too quiet. Mark had gone to work. Emily was in the kitchen, moving around softly, like she didn't want to disturb anyone. Normally she played music while she cooked, humming to herself. But today there was only silence. I stood in the doorway and watched her for a moment. She didn't notice me. She was cutting vegetables, and every few minutes, she stopped and wiped her eyes with her sleeve. Not crying loudly, just the quiet kind of crying a person tries to hide. For a moment, I felt tenderness for her. Whatever had happened, she was hurting too. But then I remembered the video. The betrayal. The words I never said. The false version of me she had shown to the world. I cleared my throat gently. She turned quickly, surprised to see me. Oh, good morning, she said softly. I nodded. Good morning. She looked like she wanted to say something else, but her lips stayed closed. We stood in silence for a few seconds, the air thick with the things neither of us knew how to say. Finally, I walked to the table and sat down. Emily, I said quietly, we need to talk. Her knife froze midair. Then she set it down and leaned back against the counter like her legs were weak. "I know," she whispered. A long pause filled the room. I took a deep breath. "I saw the video," I said. Her eyes closed. For a second, she stood completely still, like she hoped the moment would disappear if she didn't move. Then she opened her eyes, and tears slipped down her cheeks. "I figured you would," she whispered. "I'm so sorry." My heart softened. Her apology was small, but real. "What happened, Emily?" I asked gently. "Why did you make it? Why did you post it?" She didn't answer right away. Her breathing shook. Finally, she walked slowly to the table and sat across from me. Her hands trembled as she folded them together. I thought you didn't like me," she said. Her voice cracked, the truth slipping out with the pain she had kept inside. "And I thought, if Mark saw that you were treating me badly, he would know I wasn't the problem." I let her words sink in, not because I agreed, but because they were her truth, her fear, her belief. "Emily," I said softly, "if you felt that way, you could have talked to me." "I didn't know how," she whispered. "You've always been so calm, so patient, so sure of yourself. And I was the opposite. I felt like a guest in my own home, like you belonged here more than I did." Her voice shook as she looked down at her hands. I felt a quiet ache in my chest. I had never imagined she felt that way, not once. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I never meant to make you feel like that." She looked up sharply. Her eyes widened, surprised. You're sorry?" she whispered. I nodded. "Yes. Because if you felt that insecure, that alone, then I missed something. I should have been more aware. I should have talked to you more." Her chin trembled. "I was jealous," she admitted. "Not angry, not hateful, just jealous." I blinked. "Jealous?" She nodded again, her tears falling faster now. "Mark loves you so much," she said. "And you two understand each other so easily. You laugh at the same things. You cook the same way. You have the same habits." She swallowed hard, and I felt like I would always be second, like no matter what I did, I could never be enough. Those words hit me deep, not because I wanted to be first, but because it was the first time I truly understood the gap that had grown between us. "Emily," I whispered. She wiped her face and shook her head. "I know it doesn't excuse what I did. I know I messed up. I hurt you. I hurt Mark." Her voice broke, and I hurt myself, because after I posted the video, I felt sick. I knew it was wrong. I knew it wasn't true, but I didn't know how to fix it. My eyes softened. "I'm not angry," I said quietly. Her head lifted slightly. "I'm hurt, yes," I continued. "Confused, disappointed. But not angry. I can't hate you. Your family." Those words made her cry harder. And for a moment, neither of us spoke. We just sat there, two women who had been standing on opposite sides of a wall for months, finally seeing through the cracks. Then the kitchen door opened. Mark walked in early from work, his jacket still on, his face tense. He looked at me, then Emily, then the table between us. "I got the email," he said quietly. Emily stiffened. "What email?" I asked. He walked forward slowly and pulled his phone out. "Someone from the local news station sent this to me," he said, voice calm but heavy. "They asked if I wanted to comment." He tapped the screen, and then he placed the phone on the table in front of us. It was a link to a new video. A video titled, "Mother-in-law responds to daughter-in-law's shocking recording." My blood ran cold. I had not made such a video. I had not responded to anything. "What is this?" I whispered. Mark sat down, his shoulders slumping. "Someone took your private conversation with Mrs. Hale, the one from the store, and uploaded it." I froze. "What conversation?" "The one where you said you felt like staying away for a while," he said softly. "You remember?" I nodded slowly. It had been a quiet talk. Not dramatic. Not public. But someone had filmed it. And now it was online. My heart thumped slowly, heavily, like each beat carried a different emotion. Fear, shock, sadness. I clicked the video. And there I was, standing in front of the grocery store, telling my neighbor that things had been hard at home, and that maybe I should step back for a bit. My words had been simple, honest, spoken softly, but the internet had turned them into something else. The comments were fast and cruel. She sounds defeated. No mother deserves this. Daughter-in-law looks jealous. They're ruining that home. And then I saw a familiar username. My breath caught. It was Linda, Emily's aunt, the one she always complained about for gossiping. Her comment was long and furious. Everyone should know what this poor woman goes through. The daughter-in-law is toxic. I warned the family. She never listens. These women marry into good homes and think they're queens. Emily covered her mouth with her hands. Mark's eyes lowered, pain pulling at his features. "I'm sorry, Mom," he whispered. "I tried to get the video taken down before you saw it." "It's fine," I whispered, but my voice felt far away. Emily stood shakily and paced the kitchen. "This is my fault," she said. "All of it. My aunt wouldn't have done this if I hadn't posted that first video. I let everything get out of control." She pressed her palms against her forehead, near panic. Mark walked to her, put a gentle hand on her back. "Emily, stop. This isn't only your fault." Her eyes flashed with guilt. "It is. I created this mess. And now everyone online is saying things about your mother. About me. About us." I looked at her carefully. This moment, this breaking point, it wasn't anger. It wasn't blame. It was fear. Fear of losing her place in this home. Fear of losing the trust she had already broken. "Emily," I said softly, "sit down." She sat slowly, hands trembling. Mark stood behind her, silent. I took a slow breath. "Listen to me," I said. What's happening right now, this isn't who we are as a family." Emily sniffed. Her eyes were red. "We made mistakes," I continued. "All of us. Not just you. Not just me." Mark's eyebrows lifted slightly, surprised I included myself. I reached across the table, gently placing my hand near hers. "I never should have spoken to Mrs. Hale about wanting to stay away," I admitted softly. "That wasn't fair to you. And it wasn't private enough." Emily shook her head quickly. No, that wasn't your fault. People talk. You didn't record anyone. You didn't post anything." "Maybe," I said gently, "but I still let my sadness spill outside the home. And it opened a door for gossip." She swallowed hard. The silence that followed wasn't tense this time. It was reflective, tender, painful but honest. "Think they're queens." Emily covered her mouth with her hands. Mark's eyes lowered, pain pulling at his features. "I'm sorry, Mom," he whispered. "I tried to get the video taken down before you saw it." "It's fine," I whispered, but my voice felt far away. Emily stood shakily and paced the kitchen. "This is my fault," she said. "All of it. My aunt wouldn't have done this if I hadn't posted that first video. I let everything get out of control." She pressed her palms against her forehead, near panic. Mark walked to her, put a gentle hand on her back. "Emily, stop. This isn't only your fault." Her eyes flashed with guilt. "It is. I created this mess. And now everyone online is saying things about your mother. About me. About us." I looked at her carefully. This moment, this breaking point, it wasn't anger. It wasn't blame. It was fear. Fear of losing her place in this home. Fear of losing the trust she had already broken. "Emily," I said softly, "sit down." She sat slowly, hands trembling. Mark stood behind her, silent. I took a slow breath. "Listen to me," I said. What's happening right now, this isn't who we are as a family." Emily sniffed. Her eyes were red. We made mistakes, I continued. All of us. Not just you. Not just me. Mark's eyebrows lifted slightly, surprised I included myself. I reached across the table, gently placing my hand near hers. I never should have spoken to Mrs. Hale about wanting to stay away, I admitted softly. That wasn't fair to you. And it wasn't private enough. Emily shook her head quickly. No, that wasn't your fault. People talk. You didn't record anyone. You didn't post anything. Maybe, I said gently. But I still let my sadness spill outside the home. And it opened a door for gossip. She swallowed hard. The silence that followed wasn't tense this time. It was reflective, tender, painful but honest. Mark finally spoke. We can fix this, he said, voice steady. We just need to be careful. No more videos. No more posts. No more talking to outsiders. Emily nodded. And we need to talk to each other, he added. All of us. Because this happened when we stopped communicating. His words were simple. Not dramatic. Just true. Emily leaned back in her chair, exhausted. Her voice came out in a whisper. Do you still want to stay here, after all this? I looked at her. Really looked at her. And saw not the person who posted the video, but the young woman trying so hard to find her place. The woman who loved my son. The woman who cried quietly when she thought no one saw. I don't want this house to break, I said gently. And if my staying helps us rebuild, then yes. I want to be here. She covered her face again, crying quietly. But this time, it wasn't guilt. It wasn't shame. It was relief. Mark wrapped his arms around her shoulders. And for the first time in a long time, the three of us sat in the same room, not as enemies or strangers, but as a family trying to find its way back to each other. We talked for almost an hour. Slowly, softly, honestly. No raised voices. No accusations. Only truth. When we were done, something gentle settled in the room. Like a window had been opened and fresh air finally came through. Later that evening, Emily knocked softly on my bedroom door. Can I come in? She asked. I smiled. Yes, dear. Come. She stepped inside holding a small box. Her hands shook slightly. I want to show you something, she whispered. She sat beside me and opened the box. Inside were photographs. Old family pictures Mark had given her when they first got engaged. In one photo, Mark was standing beside me at a picnic when he was about 12. In another, he and I were laughing over a burnt birthday cake. Emily touched the edges of the photos gently. I've kept these since the day we got married, she said quietly. I used to look at them when Mark was away at work. I wanted to understand you. I wanted to know the woman who raised him. My breath caught. She looked at me with soft, tired eyes. I was never trying to replace you, she whispered. I was just trying to figure out how to be part of your world. And right then, something in my heart shifted. Not forgiveness, not yet, but an opening. Something warmer. Something hopeful. I'm glad you showed me, I whispered. It means a lot. We talked for a long time. Not about the videos, not about the drama, but about life. Her childhood. Her fears. Her hopes. My stories from when Mark was small. Little things. Human things. And slowly, the distance between us began to shrink. Later that night, when she left my room, the hallway felt lighter. The silence didn't feel cold anymore. For the first time in months, I felt like maybe, just maybe, our story wasn't breaking. Maybe it was bending, reshaping, finding a new path. And the real turning point had only just begun. The days that followed felt lighter, but in a quiet, careful way. Nothing changed overnight. Trust does not rebuild like a wall being patched with bricks. It rebuilds slowly, with small, gentle moments. Emily came to visit more often. Not for confrontation, not for duty, but because she wanted to. She would sit beside me at the kitchen table while I baked bread, quietly humming or asking about small things in my past. She listened carefully when I spoke, not because she had to, but because she wanted to understand. And I listened carefully when she spoke, not because I was obligated, but because I wanted to see her. One evening, after Daniel had gone to bed, Emily and I stayed in the living room with the lights dimmed. The fire in the fireplace was soft, flickering shadows across the walls. She handed me a cup of tea, and for the first time in months, I felt the tension between us dissolve, like fog lifted by the morning sun. "I never wanted this," she whispered softly. "The videos, the recordings, all of it. I just didn't know how else to show you or Daniel that I cared." I nodded gently. "I understand, Emily. Fear can make us do things we would never do otherwise. It does not make you a bad person. It makes you human." Her hands trembled slightly as she held the cup. "I was afraid I would lose him. Lose you. I didn't want to feel outside the family." I smiled softly. "Emily, you are part of this family. You always were. You just didn't see it." Her eyes filled with tears again, but this time they were different. Not shame. Not guilt. Hope. We sat there quietly, letting the warmth of the fire and the simple comfort of tea fill the room. I realized then that forgiveness isn't just about words. It's about presence. Being there, quietly, and letting time and understanding do the work. A small gesture. A few days later, Emily brought over a small basket of flowers. Not fancy. Not expensive. Just wildflowers from the edge of the town. "For you," she said softly. I thought, maybe this can be a fresh start. I smiled, feeling my heart warm. "It's beautiful. Thank you, Emily." She hesitated. "Can I sit?" she asked. I nodded. We sat together, side by side, looking out the window at the fading sunlight. For a long while, neither of us spoke. Just the quiet sounds of the evening, distant birds, the rustle of leaves, the soft tick of the clock. "I'm sorry for doubting you," she said finally. "I was so sure and I was wrong." I reached over and lightly touched her hand. "It takes courage to admit mistakes, Emily. I forgive you. Truly." Her lips trembled, but she nodded. "I want us to have a good relationship. Not just for Daniel, but for us. I want to feel like we can be honest with each other." I felt a tear slip down my cheek, silently without words. "Yes," I whispered. "Yes, we can." Daniel returns. That evening, Daniel came home early. He noticed the quiet warmth in the room immediately. "Everything okay?" he asked. I smiled softly. "Yes, dear. Better than okay." Emily looked at him, her eyes glistening. "I wanted to apologize again. For everything," she said gently. "For the recordings, the videos, the confusion. I never wanted to hurt anyone." Daniel's expression softened. "I know," he said quietly. "And I never stopped believing in either of you." He looked at me, his eyes full of love. "You both matter to me," he whispered. "And I'm glad we're talking again. Really talking." We all sat together at the kitchen table that evening. Not a single word was wasted. Every sentence carried honesty, vulnerability, and care. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't seamless. But it was real. And real is where healing begins. The first quiet piece. The next few weeks were gentle. No videos. No recording devices. No secrets. Emily and I shared small moments. Cooking together, laughing over burnt bread, sharing stories from our past. Daniel would occasionally peek in, smiling quietly, seeing his mother and his wife slowly building trust again. One afternoon, Emily knocked on my door. "Mom," she whispered. I smiled. "Yes, dear." She came inside holding a small notebook. I wrote some things. About us. About mistakes and forgiveness. About what I want for our family. I looked at her carefully. She held it out, offering the notebook as a bridge of trust. I thought, maybe we could read it together. "Slowly," she said. I nodded. "Yes." Slowly. We sat on the couch side by side. She read aloud, her voice soft but steady. I listened, not interrupting, not correcting, just listening. And in her words, I felt the first real sense of peace since the recordings had begun, because the truth had finally come out, not through screens or manipulated clips, not through fear or assumption. The days slowly turned into weeks. The tension that had once filled the house like a thick fog began to lift. It didn't vanish completely. Trust is fragile, and it takes time to heal fully. But the house felt lighter, warmer, and quieter in a gentle, comforting way. Emily and I had begun to understand each other. Not completely, not perfectly, but enough to share space without fear, to speak honestly without pretense, to laugh softly at small, silly things without worrying that they would be misunderstood. One Sunday afternoon, Daniel suggested we have a family picnic in the small park near our home. It was a simple plan: sandwiches, lemonade, a blanket on the grass. Nothing fancy, nothing elaborate, but the simplicity was perfect. We arrived just as the sun began to dip in the sky, painting the clouds a gentle pink. Emily and I set the blanket while Daniel carried the basket of food. He smiled at both of us, quietly relieved. His presence was calm and steady, the bond between us slowly reasserting itself. We sat together and ate. We talked about small things, the weather, the neighbors, old memories. For the first time in months, there was no fear. No recordings. No misunderstanding. Just a mother, a daughter-in-law, and a son sharing space, quietly, peacefully. Emily laughed at something I said. A small story about Daniel burning the first batch of cookies when he was a boy. Her laugh wasn't forced. It was light, genuine, and I felt a warmth in my chest that had been missing for far too long. After we ate, we walked slowly along the path, Emily holding my arm lightly. Not in tension, not in obligation, but in trust. And I realized something important. Forgiveness isn't a single moment. It's a choice repeated every day. It's patience. It's letting someone see your heart, knowing they may not understand everything, and still choosing to love them. We returned home as the sun faded into soft twilight. The house no longer felt like a place of fear or distance. It felt like a home again, filled with quiet, cautious hope. A letter left behind. A week later, Emily gave me a small envelope. "Just something I wrote," she said softly. Her hands shook slightly as she handed it to me. I opened it carefully. Inside was a letter, neatly written in her familiar handwriting. It said, "Dear Mom, I am sorry for my actions. I am sorry for the videos, the recordings, and the fear I caused. But I am grateful for your patience. Your forgiveness is a gift I do not take lightly. I want to be a part of this family, honestly, with all my heart. Thank you for letting me in." I folded the paper slowly, holding it against my chest. A quiet tear slipped down my cheek. Not of sadness, but of relief, of gratitude, of hope. I called Emily into the room. "I will keep this forever," I said softly. Not just because of the words, but because of the heart behind them. She smiled gently, her eyes glistening. "I mean every word," she whispered. We hugged then, a hug filled not with obligation or fear, but with understanding. A bridge had been built, and slowly, steadily, we walked across it together. Lessons learned. Over the next months, life returned to its gentle rhythm. Daniel and I shared our Sunday dinners again, laughing softly over old stories. Emily joined us without hesitation, not because she had to, but because she wanted to. And the house, once heavy with tension and secrets, now carried a quiet warmth. The kind of warmth that comes from honesty, patience, and understanding. I learned something crucial during those difficult weeks. That fear can make people do things they never imagined. That truth is stronger than any manipulated recording or video. That forgiveness is not weakness, but quiet strength. That love does not demand perfection, only honesty and heart. And that families can heal if hearts remain open. I also realized that I had changed, not in who I was, but in how I approached life. I had learned to listen more careful, to observe more gently, to respond with patience instead of rushing to defend myself. And in doing so, I found peace. Emily and I still had moments of awkwardness, moments when old fear surfaced like a shadow, but we faced them together. We spoke. We listened. And slowly, each shadow faded. A quiet evening. One evening, I sat by the window alone. The world outside was quiet. The street lights flickered softly. A gentle wind rustled the trees. I thought about the weeks that had passed, about the recordings, the videos, the fear and misunderstanding, and finally, about the quiet moments of honesty, patience, and love that had healed us. I smiled softly to myself. It wasn't perfect, but it was enough. Enough to know that love, even when tested, could endure. That mistakes, even when painful, could teach and strengthen us. And that forgiveness, freely given, could bring light into the darkest corners of a home. I closed my eyes and whispered a quiet prayer. Thank you for patience. Thank you for love. Thank you for the chance to rebuild slowly, carefully, gently. And as I opened my eyes, I saw Emily in the kitchen humming softly. Daniel walked past, smiling at something she said. And for the first time in months, I felt it clearly. Home. Love. Family. Whole again. The storms had passed. The hurt had softened. And in its place, warmth remained. A quiet, steady warmth. The kind that lasts,